New at 11, filing your taxes will be trickier this year because of the pandemic. With unemployment, working from home, life changes, and stimulus payments, many of you have told us you're confused when it comes to filing. That's where WCNC Charlotte's Savannah Levins comes in. She's asking, where's the money?
The tax experts I've spoken with say, to be frank, the IRS isn't going to hold your hand through this. You'll have to be proactive to get every cent you deserve. Tax season. Time again for that certainty of life, and this year with new twists, turns, and loopholes.
This stuff is so complicated, getting even more complicated.
Arthur Bartlett is the director of Charlotte Center for Legal Advocacy's Low-Income Taxpayer Clinic. Simply put, he's a tax expert, and he's helping us break down what you need to know.
There's some COVID-19 specific things that people need to think about.
First is timing. The IRS started accepting returns February 12th, and Bartlett recommends filing online to get your refund fastest.
A paper return right now will take probably an inordinate amount of time to get processed because of the effect that COVID-19 has had on IRS staffing.
Second, if you received unemployment this year, you may owe taxes on it when you file.
I think it's going to be a bit of a surprise to people when they realize that that money was taxable, subject to both federal and state tax. So some people may have made an election just to have federal tax withheld, forgotten about the state. So it's going to be a bit of a surprise to a lot of people who collected benefits for some extended period of time.
Gig workers may also owe, as their income is taxable, and that's not always paid out up front. Finally, what about the millions of eligible Americans who never received a stimulus check?
So there's still an opportunity for people who missed out on one or both of the stimulus payments to get them in the form of the recovery rebate credit.
Important to note that people who weren't initially eligible for one or both checks, including dependents like college students, mixed status families, those who had a decrease in income or marriage status change, and those incarcerated in 2020 may also be eligible to claim the recovery rebate credit, thanks to multiple lawsuits and rule changes over the last year.
So is this something the IRS just expects people to know?
There's lots of information about how these complicated rules have changed, but it's really up to the taxpayer to figure this out and to really work through what their particular situation is and make sure that on that 2020 tax return, they're getting every bit of those recovery rebate credits that they're entitled to.
It's also important to know while the IRS wasn't allowed to withhold money from people's stimulus checks for unpaid federal debts, a loophole does allow them to take money from your recovery rebate credit.
There could be some federal student loan obligations or other federal liabilities that would cause that amount to be offset and used to pay off an existing federal debt. Whereas if it had been paid out appropriately, in a timely fashion as an advanced payment in the form of the either first or second stimulus payment, they would have received it. It's not fair, but it just is the way that the law is written.
Really, we were only able to scratch the surface here. We know a lot of you probably have more questions, so to get them all answered, join us on Facebook Live and YouTube tomorrow at 4 p.m. We'll be joined by tax experts and we'll be answering your questions live again tomorrow at 4 p.m. so you can join us for that. Reporting for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Savannah Levins. Back to you.